RadioNOW 100.9's Indy Connection with Emily Metheny.
Hello, I'm Emily Metheny, your host. This week, Julia Jennings, Director of Community and School Partnerships at Indiana University, talked with me about a new initiative with 21st Century Scholars and partners like IU. Together, they launched to help underrepresented students get the opportunity to attend colleges and universities with the new 21st Century Scholars Pre-College Academy workshops. First, Julia starts by explaining what 21st Century Scholars is.
The 21st Century Scholars Program is a state scholarship program that is administered by the Commission for Higher Education, and it's designed to help first-generation college, low-income, and underrepresented students across the state who are income eligible to receive up to 4 years of tuition and fees at an eligible Indiana college or university after high school.
And if someone's interested in seeing which colleges and universities that are included, where can people find that?
The information can be found online at Learn More Indiana and through the Commission for Higher Education website.
There is a new partnership coming up. It's with the Pre-College Academy. Can you tell me a little bit about this partnership and who's all involved?
Absolutely. So Indiana University's 21st Century Scholars Program and Community and School Partnerships Program, we've partnered with the Commission for Higher Education to launch this new initiative that we're calling the 21st Century Scholars Pre-College Academy. And in addition to that, we have IU campus partners who help us deliver the content expertise through our programming each week.
And with the programming, it's every week, and what's all covered in the programming?
So we have a 6-week program that we launched on May 6th, but it's not too late to join, that we have been introducing the state scholarship in more detail. We've also been talking with families and students about how to be a successful student in high school and beyond, including how to practice great study skills. We've been exploring career opportunities with our Walter Center and our career development centers at IU Bloomington. This week we will be talking with the IU Office of Admissions and talking about the admissions requirements, what campus life looks like from a student perspective, and how to get involved beyond the classroom. In future conversations, we're also going to be talking about how to pay for college using scholarships and other means such as student loans, on-campus jobs, and we'll also be helping families to formally register for the program.
And where can people sign up to go to those workshops?
We have an RSVP form that you can access at go.iu.edu/makecollegeafforable. That's all one word. You can register for any or all of the series. And also, if you're having any access issues with internet or computer access, you can also call us at 812-856-5935, and we'll help get you registered.
Excellent. And then are the previous courses, the previous workshops recorded where people can check those out, or is there any way people can see the workshops they've missed?
Yes, we have recorded all of our sessions to date and will continue to do so. We've been sharing those out through some of our social media pages, and we've also created an online platform where all of that information will reside, and we give that information out to those who register so that you can access and create your own account and access those recordings at your own pace whenever it fits your schedule.
Excellent. And what are some of the social media pages people can follow to stay up to date with what is happening with the workshops?
Absolutely. Probably the best one to follow right now is the IU Bloomington 21st Century Scholars Program Facebook page. That's where we're posting the recordings after each week.
Excellent. And for any parents who are listening, the 21st Century program, which age group does it focus on? Is it more middle school? Is it more early high school? What age is your main focus?
Yeah, it's a continuum. So the thing about the 21st Century Scholarship is that students and families have to register by June 30th after their 8th grade year. So it's really important for middle school students and families to be aware of the program and take advantage of that opportunity during that time frame. The programming, however, continues through their high school years, and so each year students will be participating in activities that help them with their college readiness, and those happen. There are 3 requirements every year during the high school career that students have to meet. And so part of what our sessions are doing through this series for the Pre-College Academy is that we're kind of forecasting and practicing some of those activities to help families be just that one step ahead when they are ready to start completing those activities in high school.
And because the program, because of everything that's happening in the world, is online this year, how has that made it more accessible to students all over the state?
Because we are able to move the program online this year, we're able to reach families all across the state where original plans may have been a little bit limited to those who could join us in person on the Bloomington campus. So it's been a really wonderful opportunity to do that, to be able to record the sessions so that they're going to be accessible year-round for families who maybe are focused on other priorities at this time and don't want to miss out on these great opportunities and information. And we also have plans in place to get this information into the hands of those who don't have internet access or home computing devices. So we're trying to make this as broadly accessible as possible so that nobody misses out.
And can I have you give the number one more time and the website one more time of where people can RSVP for these upcoming workshops?
Yes, our website is go.iu.edu/makecollegeafforable. Again, that's all one word. Or you can call us at 812-856-5935.
Julia, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I just want to add a couple of things. First, we're very grateful for your program and for the opportunity to share about the resources that we have available. It's possible that we're running this program only through the generous grant support from the Women's Philanthropy Leadership Council at IU. And just want to finally say that don't miss this opportunity to unlock limitless possibilities for your student with our program. Join us each week or contact us, and we'll provide that information to you so that we can help you be successful through the middle school, high school, and college years.
For the second part of the show, we revisit an interview with Dr. Ukamaka Uruche. Together, we talked about how mental health is being affected by the coronavirus and how you can support your friends and family while taking care of yourself. Dr. Uruche, could you tell me a little bit about how COVID-19 is impacting mental health in the general population?
Yes. So, as you probably may have heard, there's definitely across the nation, including Indiana, Indianapolis, significant upsurge in mental health complaints, including substance abuse. And that is related in part to, all of the stressors associated, with, things like stay-at-home orders, which has led to changes in our work situations, decreased social contact. Many of us are staying indoors in small spaces for long periods of time. And then for many young parents, they're having to do e-learning with their young children as well. So there is marked increased stress. Many people are complaining about lots of anxiety about not knowing quite what to expect with the pandemic and the stay-at-home orders. Could be anxiety related to job security. Some people may have had their hours of work cut down. Some have lost job totally. There's also sadness, right, and grief related to, news of so many lives lost as of today, 54,000 and counting. Some of us may have experienced losses in our own family members or extended family members or larger community. So all of that is really compounding our level of stress and anxiety. And by the way, I want to say stress is not always a bad thing. What happens, however, we get concerned when it's way beyond to the point that is affecting our day-to-day functioning, our day-to-day routine, then we start getting worried. So, and as a consequence, then, we're seeing this upsurge in calls to, say, 211 helpline here in Indianapolis. We're seeing an upsurge in calls for mental health and, of course, for substance abuse issues as well.
And for those who are recovering from substance abuse, how is COVID-19 impacting their recovery and just everything in general?
Yes. So for the subsection of the population that already had existing mental health issues, so they had, all kinds of mental health diagnosis of substance use disorder before COVID-19 pandemic, this is certainly taking a toll. I want to start by saying many of our community mental health centers and primary care centers across the state and Indianapolis have been proactive in terms of helping support patients who are already connected with treatment. So, for example, almost all of them, including Eskenazi Health, which is where I work, have moved patient visits to telephone or televideo for all patients, so that patients will have minimal disruption in their services, whether it's for medication or for counseling. They limited the number of face-to-face appointments and moved them to telephone or televideo, so we can minimize disruption in people's treatment. And that is the same whether it's for mental health or substance abuse. So in that way, we're trying to support people who have existing conditions. Having said that, we know, from the news that patients who are already struggling in these areas have additional or an increase in the severity of their illness. So, for example, I even hate to use this example, but we had a case in the nation. It wasn't here in Indianapolis, but it was a patient who had bipolar disorder and had to stay indoors, be isolated. He lived in an apartment by himself. The isolation of having to stay indoors was just way too much. And unfortunately, that person ended up committing suicide. We certainly don't want that to happen anymore for any of our patients. So there's no question there's added stress for patients who are already struggling with mental illness or substance use. So, so we recognize that. But we as providers are doing the best that we can to stay in touch with our patients.
And for the people who have family members who struggle with mental health and mental illness, with mental health and substance abuse, how can they help their family members, their friends during this?
During this time, yeah. So, I see and I learned clearly a few years ago that we are social beings. We thrive on social connectedness. One of the best things we want to do during this time is to stay connected, whether it's via phone or phone chat, text with our loved ones who are already struggling with mental illness. I would say as a friend, as a family member, check in as frequently as you can on your loved ones, daily. Check in with them and give them permission to call you as they need. Make sure they are connected with their providers and taking their medications as they should. And if you sense that they are having difficulty doing that, please help them to make the necessary connections. When we are stressed, we don't problem solve well. So one of the best things you can do is to talk with your loved ones who may have mental illness or substance use, get a sense of what they're doing in terms of their treatment. If you sense there's some disorganization or not a clear plan, please help them to clearly identify a plan and a step-by-step action on how they stay connected with their healthcare providers and that they are taking their medications as well. As you know, pharmacies are open, so if there's a need to help them get to the pharmacy and get their medications, please help them to facilitate that. So that social connectedness, I think, is the best thing. Connection to family members, connections to support groups, connection to their healthcare providers will be very, very desirable.
And earlier you sent me some resources. Can we talk a little bit about those resources? I know you've mentioned 211 for locally here in Indiana, which will connect you with different organizations who can help connect you with services. What other resources are there?
Yes, so there are a number of other resources. You can call 911, of course, at any time for any type of emergencies. You can call the Disaster Distress Hotline. That number is 1-800-985-5990. You can also text 66746. There is another number that I want to share, and I will tell you why. That number is to the National Domestic Hotline. It's 1-800-799-7233. That number, as you heard, is to the National Domestic Hotline. There is concern, and this is very much part of our mental health or emotional well-being. We know there is an upsurge in the number of domestic violence calls. There's also an upsurge in the number of calls for child abuse or child neglect situations. So please don't be alone. Again, we owe it to one another to listen and help make sure people get the help that they need. So that's why I shared that National Domestic Hotline as well.
And that hotline will help connect for both significant others and for children as well. It's not just one or the other.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And for someone who is communicating with their family, what are some things they can look for if something seems like they need to reach out to the National Domestic Hotline? What things can people be looking for child abuse and domestic abuse?
Yes. So hopefully you get to visualize the child. So if you know, for example, that there were that kinds of history before in a particular family or whatever, or even if there wasn't, I would keep an eye, for example, are you able to maintain contact, say, with the children? Say you call to the home and you may ask to speak with the child or something like that. You make some sort of inquiry about the child. How is Johnny doing? Get Johnny on the phone. If you find that you constantly get pushback or some excuses about why Johnny couldn't get on the phone, that might be a source of concern. If you are on video chat or you happen to maybe visit the home, keep an eye on the children. I know they're not going to school, so they may not always be dressed. They may be running around in their pajamas, so that's normal. But look for, any depressed emotion, any type of wounds that seems really unusual or raises some red flag for you, especially for the children. That would be important. Check to make sure they eat food in the house. Ask about that. Again, that's in the case of children. For adults, listen for any suspiciousness in people's voices. It's not uncommon that for women or even men, for that matter, in domestic violence situations, they may have unusual wounds to the face, arm, where they end up wearing long sleeves. Keep an eye for things like that. That is important. Anything that does not make a lot of sense to you or feels really out of place, gently inquire, and if needed, push a little hard so that you can help support whoever that might be.
And because we are doing the quarantining and the self-isolating, this would be very important to do because people aren't going to work like they typically would, or the kids aren't going to school. So just an extra set of eyes right now, making sure we're staying socially connected.
Yes.
And after COVID-19, after we get through this all together, do you think that there will be a change in the stigma with mental health in general?
I am hopeful. I am absolutely hopeful. I don't think you would remove it, 100%. But I think we have an incredible opportunity. Already there's an acknowledgement and talk about mental health and the impact on not just a sub-segment of the population, but all of us. All of us are under immense stress because of the unusualness of the COVID-19 pandemic. So from that perspective, I'm seeing an increased awareness and a willingness to talk about mental illness. And so it's my hope that as we pass the pandemic, the implication then is reduced stigma, that people will be more open to seeking care. We normalize that. It's okay to seek care for mental illness, just like you would physical illness. And greater support and allocation of resources towards provision of mental health services would be much, much desirable. Telehealth, we're learning, has really changed the way we provide care, not just for physical care, but for the first time for mental health care. And so, we're seeing more people gain access, and those are all steps in the right direction to, decreasing stigma. So I am very helpful. I am very hopeful.
And if someone is looking for resources, you can call 211 if you live in Indiana. You can call the Disaster Distress Hotline at 1-800-985-5990. You can also text to 66746. And if you need help with domestic abuse or violence, you can call the National Domestic Hotline at 1-800-799-7233.
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I want to add in closing, as stressful, totally confusing and perplexing as this pandemic is, we're all not quite sure what to expect. Things will be okay. I want to just leave people with the hope that we will be okay. Already we're seeing signs of things getting better. People are slowly going back to work. There's less hospitalizations. So we will get through this. We absolutely will get through this. Please stay connected with your loved ones. Reach out to other people, co-workers, and don't forget to also let other people help you.
Thank you for listening, and please join me again next week. If you have any questions or comments, email me at emetheny, that's EMETHENY, at radio-1.com. Until then, have a great week.
Radio Now 100.9's Indy Connection with Emily Metheny.